Boys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be breaking down the 4-step muscle building playbook. This is a highly requested video. I've been getting a lot of questions on how I was able to take my physique from something like very insecure, scrawny, to getting very ripped and aesthetic. And honestly, it's a few simple tweaks that you guys are probably doing wrong that literally is going to unlock substantial growth, because a lot of people like myself, we're hitting progress plateaus, we're hitting periods of stagnant growth, and we're getting lack of results, all because of using improper stuff. And I'm going to break all this down. As you guys can see, we got a full packed video right here, really high level stuff that I want to break down and just put it in very simplistic terms so you guys can go ahead and start taking action. No gatekeeping, none of that bullshit. I'm going to give you it all, like you guys know, straight to the point, and I want you guys to win, because when you win, you are your best self, and your physique is literally a status symbol to everyone. You guys can tell I have a lot of energy. This is one of my favorite stuff to talk about, and I want to drop the sauce and give it to you guys. So no more yapping, let's get right into it. So as you guys can see, we need to find a proven method that's going to allow us to build muscle 10 times faster. And a lot of people go through periods of where they get progress plateaus and stagnant growth, and it's honestly just a few things you guys are not doing right. So let's break down the 4-step playbook and how we're going to do it. So guys, I broke this down to 4 key essentials. So as you see, we have our playbook. Our point number 1 is going to be progressive strength training. We're going to talk about progressive overload. We're going to talk about how to build muscle continuously. And we're going to talk about the right training structures and splits we need to do this. We're going to then pair that with our nutrition accelerator, which is then only going to complement our gains to literally put this at like double X or 2X the speed, as we can call it. And then once we have the right frameworks and we understand the right guidelines, we need sustainable practices. So we're going to talk about the less is more adaptation, why it's so important, why these frameworks are essentially going to help with the longevity and sustainability of you getting the results. And then we're going to put consistency on steroids. This is a really funny picture I like to show you guys. I mean, like, come on, look at this. This is bananas. It's absolutely freaking wild. So, we're going to talk about consistency on steroids and why it's such a beneficiary towards your goal. So, let's break it down. Let's get right into it. So let's break down our playbook. As you guys can see, we have our playbook right here. Just a picture I just grabbed, if you guys can tell. So let's talk about point number 1, which is progressive strength training. So again, guys, let's talk about why progressive strength training is so important. So in order to build muscle continuously, we need, again, a right framework to go about it. And progressive overload is the ability to build that muscle continuously by increasing the training frequency. This is the ability, of course, to build muscle a lot quicker and to honestly get the growth we need at such a faster speed, because essentially what we're doing is we're increasing the amount of times we're hitting each muscle group, which is then going to correlate to the training frequency. The training frequency then plays hand in hand about how many times we're hitting each muscle group, which then increases the growth over days to weeks, weeks to months, months to years. And then before you know it, you're literally getting results you couldn't even imagine because you're doing the right principles. And this is kind of it right here. So again, guys, if you want to take a screenshot, this is really important because it then ties into muscle hypertrophy, which of course is the framework of just building muscle over time and getting stronger. So I broke this down to 4 key categories. We have our compound lifts, our isolation lifts, our training frequency, and our training splits equal days. So I kind of broke this down, but let's go into the details of this. So first we have our compound lifts. So we should operationalize anywhere from 6 to 9 reps. And if you guys don't know what compound lifts are, these are essentially your bench press, your incline press, your shoulder press, your barbell row, your back squat. And these are stuff you want to start your workouts with these, because these give you the ability to hit multiple muscle groups simultaneously. So for example, for your bench press, maybe you are essentially smashing your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, your core. All these compound lifts hit multiple muscle groups. That's just one example of anyone I could choose off the top of my head. And the isolation lifts essentially are a subgroup of that muscle group. So maybe for your shoulder, you're doing your front delts, because there's 3 parts of your shoulders. You have your front, your side, and your rear. And your front delt is an isolation movement, is an isolation of that muscle group itself. And then these are the rep ranges you want to operationalize around them in. And as you can see, you want to go towards the higher end of this. So maybe, for this one, you're going 10 to 12. Maybe for this, I recommend the 9. And what you're essentially going to do is once you hit that number consistently, you're going to increase the weight. Reps are going to decrease. You're going to rinse and repeat over time to build this muscle continuously. So once we have our compound lifts and we essentially start our workouts with these, this is going to, again, tie into the training frequency, because we're going to be hitting more muscle groups at once per times per week. And then that's going to go into how many times we actually hit it, which is we're going to aim for 3 to 5 times of, these muscles per week, which is then going to just stimulate their growth faster. And essentially the variations of it, you could tie it into, like, of course, for chest, if you're not seeing results doing a bench press, maybe you're going to do it to a dumbbell, a machine bench press, a Smith machine press. Same muscle group you're hitting, but different variation of it, because it confuses the muscle. Your muscle gets muscle memory. And when you essentially have muscle memory, your body knows exactly what you're doing. But if you can confuse the muscle and change your workouts, maybe you're changing the order of it, maybe you're changing the structure, maybe if you're changing the essential exercise itself, that's going to give you the ability to get over that stagnant growth and those progress plateaus. I know I'm obviously going to, touch on this and give you guys exactly what you need over here, but I just want to touch on it because it literally just kind of flowed hand in hand to what we were talking about. And then this kind of ties in on how we're going to go about our structure. So our training splits, of course, align to the days we're going per week, which then ties into the progressive overload and the training frequency. So 3 days, you're going to do a full body. 4 days, maybe you're going to do an upper and lower. 5 or 6 days, you're going to do maybe a PPL or push-pull legs or an Arnold split. That is an essential baseline on how we're going to go about it. So this gives us the framework on how we structure workouts, what rep range we're doing, how we're going to build muscle over time, how many times you're looking to hit that muscles per week. And then, guys, this is just literally basic muscle hypertrophy, to ability to get not only build muscle over time, but to get stronger and to get that, the ability to build that muscle that we want, and essentially take a physique like this to this right here, because we're essentially applying the right frameworks and principles. So now let's break into, since we broke down progressive strength training, we then have to tie in the nutrition, because that's going to be the accelerator to all this. Essentially, your macros are fuel. And of course, as you guys can see, I cannot spell. Jeez, that's funny. So our macros are essentially fuel. And once we talk about this, guys, our protein, we have to make sure, this is like the underlying metric to get our results, is that we're hitting at least 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So if we're weighing 150 pounds, we're eating 150 grams. And if you guys want to increase this a little more, that's fine. But just rely on consistency at first and then make, adjustments as you go. A little pointer is you're really going to keep your protein the same. You're not really going to change it. Maybe you increase it a little bit, but your carbs and your fats, you're kind of going to tweak around as you go with that margin of error. But generally speaking, for your carbs, you're going to go more complex carbs. So maybe you're doing sweet potatoes, quinoa, white rice, 100% whole wheat bread, higher in fiber. Longer the body takes down, it gives you more essential nutrients, the micronutrients, the vitamins, and minerals, all this different crap. And then essentially what it essentially also does is that it makes you operationalize your workouts the best. You're going to get the best lift, you're going to get the best pumps, because you're going to use some of your carbs as pre-workout fuel to get a great lift in, which then ties into, of course, building this muscle and to really, build the body you want and pack on that muscle, which then ties into exactly why you guys are watching this video. And then your fats, guys, we have some healthy options like nuts and butters. We know fats are 2x the calories of our proteins and our carbs. You guys saw the other videos on the channel that break this down to nuances. So I'm not gonna, go into too much detail here, because I want to get, straight to the point, which is how to build this muscle. And I think that is going to be a video for another day. The video is already on the channel, I believe so. But if you guys need it, just, drop a comment down below and I can go into even more detail about it. So once we have our macros as a fuel, we understand our frameworks, we then need to operationalize our surplus and anywhere from 200 to 300 calories. Again, maintenance calories, guys, if you, just to give you a quick recap, because I've broken this down so many times, but just for the sake of this video, is what you're essentially going to do is weigh yourself 3 to 5 days. You're going to track your nutrition 3 to 5 days. And what you're essentially going to see is you're going to see your calorie intake and then your weight. If your weight keeps on increasing, you're going to decrease the calories, vice versa. If you keep on, seeing your weight decrease, you're going to increase the calories. And that's how it's essentially going to give you the ability to understand where your weight is. And then you're going to just, track this and maybe like a resource in MyFitnessPal or something that's going to allow you to see exactly what you eat, what your calorie count is, what your macro count is, and what your weight is. And that's going to give you a pretty spot on pinpoint where you're at. And then now we're going to operationalize in a 200 to 300 calorie surplus for a lean bulk to make sure we're building this muscle. And then you're going to adjust the macros as we mentioned here to do just that. And then, of course, guys, once you do this, you're gonna have to see how your body adapts. Like I said previously, your fats and your carbs are gonna adjust, but your protein is gonna relatively stay the same. But in the beginning, there's always a margin of error because every body is different. You don't know what's gonna work for you, but you have to be tracking this data. If you're not tracking this data, you're making a blind guess and you're just wasting time at the end of the day. So please make sure you track this data. MyFitnessPal is a great nutrition software, and your training, there's so many softwares you guys could use. For my clients, I used, a software that's right on your phone. It's very easy, very, simple to track, and you have everything you need to see how you're building muscle, how you're using muscle hypertrophy to get the dream physique, and it really allows you to build this momentum of small wins because you're seeing them. If you don't see them and you're just essentially guessing, it's not giving you the mindset that you're actually making improvement. You're just thinking that, and then maybe some days you think you did 4 reps and you did actually 6, vice versa. So always make sure you track more of the story. So now we need to talk about less is more. So guys, rest and recovery is extremely important. And the way you want to go about your rest and recovery is essentially making sure you're hitting your water intake and you're sleeping a lot. This is really important because if you're not doing this, your muscle, guys, when you sleep, that's when your muscles are recovering. And essentially, if you're not getting enough sleep or adequate rest, you're not giving yourself the ability to operate at the best, frequency of yourself, because you're going to feel sore all the time. You're not going to feel like you have enough energy, all this different stuff. And this kind of ties in to make sure you do this in the 5-4-5 breakdown that I'm actually going to link the video down below that I break this into very, very nuanced details, because it's a very revolving system that goes right into your fitness goals. And basically what your 5-4-5 breakdown is 5 long-term goals or short-term goals. So I say 3 to 6 months out, your 4 morning step routine that gets you in a high frequency state, and 5 medium movers for the day, which are all these are aligned the same vertical to make sure you make progress every single day. So again, that video is going to be linked down below. I'm not going to go into detail because this will probably take another 15 extra minutes, and I don't want to kind of repeat the same stuff. So if you guys want to learn more about that and how it goes hand in hand in building muscle and to really revolve around your life to realign your identity, check out the link below because it literally just breaks everything down. So next, the second part is the less is more, and then I'm really going to touch on the less is more framework, which is just, a couple of things you guys really need to hammer down, but these are really good points that you guys should be taking into consideration. Is drop the ego lifting. This is really important because once you start to essentially see momentum, a lot of people just think that they could lift a lot more weight than they can, and guys, you don't need to be ego lifting. It doesn't matter. Focus on proper form. Instead of lifting, of course, it's always good to lift heavy weight, but make sure you're doing time under tension. You're actually feeling the mind-muscle connection, and you're actually getting, progress from it. Because if you're just ego lifting, you're essentially using momentum of other muscle groups that are not allowing you to essentially hit it. So, for example, guys, maybe if you're doing cables and you're doing all the movement from your shoulders and you're not really feeling your chest, you're getting a shoulder workout, not a chest. So that's why your mind muscle connection and time under tension is really important on top of your progressive overload, because it gives you the way to really see that you're actually feeling the muscle and you're actually getting growth from it. And again, it's all about lifting the weights. This again should be the other way around. So it's all about, of course, lifting weights, but your form has to override the lifting of the weights. So you have to build a strong foundation, and then from that, you're going to be able to lift more weights because you because you guys essentially are using the time under tension, the mind muscle connection on top of the progressive overload, which is then giving you the formula for success. So that's really essential for you guys to get the growth, because a lot of people get stagnant growth from this because they're ego lifting and they're not getting or overcoming these hurdles because they're essentially just doing crap. And the less is more is a framework that if you do the right stuff, if you make sure you're recovering right, you're doing 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, you're getting your water intake, you're hitting your macros, you're training the right way, you're not overtraining, training 4 hours a day because there's no reason to do that, unless you're bodybuilding. But do stuff that is sustainable and is consistent. If you could do sustainability and consistency, it's going to give you the ability to win long term. And now, guys, to tie it all together, consistency on steroids. This is, again, I touch onto the 5-4-5 here, but again, I'm going to link that video down below because it really goes into more details, but I will touch on it right now. So consistency on steroids is the 5-4-5 breakdown. And what I essentially want to touch on right here is that these goals are, again, I talked about 5 goals. These are 3 to 6 months out. I like to put these in a physical, a mental, and maybe a business state, because what I mean state is that you're working towards something that's in a different genre of what your goals are. And you should have multiple goals in different stuff. Maybe it's personal development, maybe it's mindset, maybe it's kind of a physique, whatever it is, but it gives you different stuff, and then different habits and different needle movers align with that goal. So, I'll just do it this way. As I mentioned, it'll align with your daily needle movers, which will then build momentum. So example for a physical goal would maybe build 5 pounds of lean muscle. Maybe a daily needle mover will essentially be, okay, make sure you get your training in to maximize your growth potential for your chest. I don't know, just, whatever your daily needle movers for that specific day. And a daily habit could essentially be, make sure you're drinking 3 to 5 water bottles or hit your protein intake for the day. See, everything's in the same vertical, but it's momentum every single day to build small wins. Now, next we have our 4-step morning routine, which puts us in a high frequency state. And this is all about building small wins. So guys, your small wins are extremely important. And the goal in the morning is to get in a high frequency state. So the way, example for me, how I do my morning is the first thing I do is I get up at 6:15. A standard wake up time is so important because it makes sure you essentially is getting in a routine. You're doing it every single day and it's the same thing. So for me, I get up in the morning, I take a cold shower to chase real dopamine, not fake dopamine, but real dopamine. I then make my bed, I read 10 minutes, write down my goals for the day, and then I get some form of exercise in, which then increases the frequency state. And maybe that's going to maybe it's doing push-ups, or maybe it's going to the gym. Either one, but that gives me the ability to get in a high frequency state to start the day. And then I put an espresso and coffee on top of it, and I'm like, my mind's through the roof, and I literally can't wait to get up. And that's an essential dopamine hit right there. So as you guys can see, the example. And then last part are 5 needle movers, which are the most important tasks for the day. You're going to do these in daily order that is most important to you. If you don't have 5 stuff to do, that means you're not working on your personal development journey enough. You should have a list that's so much that you can't even fit into your day. So, maybe, a goal for your day is essentially making sure maybe not only get your lift in, but make sure you're applying progressive overloading and compound lifts into a workout plan that's building towards your goal. I don't know, that's for an example, but you guys could see whatever your 5 most important tasks are. And maybe, again, I think this could really go into hitting your protein intake, could build I think it's more of a habit itself. So I'll put that right here. It's a habit. But again, either one is fine. Just make sure you do stuff that's in the same vertical alignment. So again, guys, now let's break down the last key point, which is then, what you guys asked. So I really touched on these before, but the ability to overcome progress plateaus is using variation workouts and training. As I mentioned earlier, you want to do different stuff that allows different results. And maybe you're doing, instead of a chest, you're doing a maybe dumbbells or a Smith machine press, and then you're going to change the structure in your training of your workouts. No stagnant growth. As I mentioned earlier, maybe you're overcoming you're going to be able to overcome this through progressive overload variation techniques. So again, you could do the same workout, but a different exercise that's going to hit a different part of the muscle, which is then going to confuse the muscle memory, which is then going to stimulate new growth. And then lack of results is from daily inputs, the 5-4-5, which guarantee results. Again, this was really touched on in everything over here, but this literally gives everything we need to get the results we want. And I don't want to make this video long because it's getting to the 20-minute mark right now because I look at the timer. So I hope this video was helpful. If you guys want me to break down certain stuff that I can go into more intricate detail, please leave a comment down below. But again, I hope this video gave everything you need of a 4-step muscle building playbook for success. And this is literally what took me to get something that was like this to this. Absolutely insane, but you guys could do it too. Just smash consistency and it's going to be your best friend for the compounded results. So again, guys, please make sure you leave a comment down below if you want any other videos that I think I can help you with, or you want more detail. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I hope this video gave you everything you needed, and let's go make sure we crush it.